Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation, where we talk about fishing and competition. It's your boy Ox Pippin, aka Ox Fishing. Don't come over here tripping. Hey, hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. Happy Monday night. It's post-TOC weekend, and it's Ryan's first night as no longer the grand champion. How you feeling?
Man, shut up. How are we going to start it off that way? Come on.
I'm just kidding, man.
It still stings. It stings a little bit.
Yeah, you made a post about it, so I had to throw it in there a little bit.
I know. I'm glad to hand it off to one of my friends. You know, that was, and no matter which one of these two want it, you can't be disappointed in that. Like that, it was such a nail biter of an ending. The entire event was just ups and downs all over the place. So definitely a great one.
Yeah, man, we're going to get into that. I mean, it's first year of the 3-day event. That played a huge role, I think, in the ups and downs of this tournament. We'll talk about that. And then once again, man, the AOY getting turned on its head. Everybody thought, who's going to win? BDH, Ewing, who's going to slide in there and win at the end? And once again, the whole thing got flipped right on its head.
That old mullet son just came through in the breeze and took it. We thought he had it swept, man. I ain't gonna lie. I don't. Yeah. This is why sandbagging should be illegal. Like everybody had done all the math and they thought it had it figured out, and then Kristine just quietly walks up to the stage, and then we saw how the rest went.
Yeah, which is funny because I mean she was sitting there in a good spot going into day 3, but she hadn't been posting all day, so everybody kind of forgot about what was going on and was just looking at who was posting, going back and forth, and then just slid in there all slick.
I completely forgot. I talked to her. She texted me at the end of the day when I was towing Ewan back, and she was like, "Did Marshall jump Ron?" And I called her and talked to her on the phone. She never mentioned once. Like I'm holding a bag, like nothing, no just hint, no nothing. Killer. Dude, it was on its head for sure.
Yeah. Everybody probably knows Jordan's one of our KBN moderators on the KBN group page, so of course we were pulling for him. And after he was done fishing, he sent us a video of that last fish, and we knew like privately that he had culled up, and we were freaking out. And then to see that high drama at the end, that was unbelievable. So it was cool to see her win, him get AOY. That we got the best of both worlds there. So great finish. We're gonna get him on here and talk about it in a minute. Before we do that, I talked to Steve a little bit earlier. Let me see if I can find the picture I want to throw up. Ooh. Giving away a shirt tonight from one of our title sponsor, man, Dugout Bait and Tackle. Let me throw that picture up there. They came out with some new long sleeve swag, so we're going to give away one of these long sleeve shirts. All you got to do, like the page, like Dugout's page, and share the live stream on Facebook, and you're good to go. And if you want to go buy one, you see on the screen there the rest of the week, it's KBN 21, 20% off apparel. Goes the rest of the week. So go get you some nice Dugout swag from our title sponsor, dugoutfishing.com.
Chase Tanner made these. They smell like Chase, so that's another added bonus.
They smell like Chase, like a Packers fan.
Cheese. Smell like cheese.
Cheese. Of course, we always thank Revo. Best lenses on earth. Go hit up Revo. KBN 25, not KBN 20, as one of our partners said by accident. And then Western Sun Vodka, the drink of choice for KBN folks everywhere. But yeah, man, before we get them in here, how about your event? What did you think of the week? And I know you kind of had a little struggle bus off the beginning of the first day, didn't you?
I want to add one more thing here while we're talking about this in the Angler of the Year race. Drew Gregory was not able to come to the TOC. He just texted me. Baby Sophia is happy and healthy. Oh. Yep. Mama's doing great. So happy birthday, literally, Sophia. Congrats, Drew. Sorry you couldn't make it. I'm sure we'll see you at the TOC next year, buddy. Congratulations.
There we go. Does he get an exemption invite for having a baby and couldn't fish the TOC, or is he going to have to make it again?
I am pretty sure Hobie does not give exemptions for anything. That's a bet right there. So it was a tough day one for Lambert. I got up and was responsible and got to the ramp within plenty of time. I was there like 20 minutes before launch, which is absurd. There's like 4 trucks at the gate lined up at this marina. So we're launching in a marina, and I went in and bought some tackle. Whenever I travel to these different places, I try to go in the local tackle shop and spend some money and just, try to at least make a little impact on us being there at this host lake. And I'm talking to the old man. He's like, yeah, y'all launching here? I said, yeah, I'll probably start here in the morning. He said, well, we'll have the gate unlocked at 4. The gate was not unlocked at 4. Myself, Broach, Russ, and I'm trying to think of the guy from Louisiana. But anyway, we sat there till like 5:40, and finally we're like, okay, first cast is at 6. Like we gotta roll. So me and Russ headed across the bridge to Georgetown, where we find Jordan Marshall enjoying a parking lot by himself, and we put in and came all the way across the lake. Broach and the other gentleman went up to the next ramp above and came down, and we kind of converged and went up in that. Oh no, the Louisiana guy didn't. He waited on the guy to unlock the gate, so he got in the water about 6:20. Yeah, it was a clean miss on that one. Anyway, I got up in there and I could feel the handle on my 360 that was tight, and AJ and the Hobie crew tore it apart in the floor of their house Thursday night to rebuild it, but it did not work. Whatever it was, didn't work. I could feel it tight. I got up in this little area where I'd found a good frog bite, and I start fishing, and I go just not thinking. I go to turn, and it just locked up completely, and I was like, oh God, like this is bad. This is not what you want to happen. It was stuck completely sideways. Not a big deal. The wind wasn't blowing at that point yet, so I had like half a paddle. I'm like paddle stroking with the left, casting with the right, doing trying to grind on it a little bit, and then the wind kicked up, and it was blowing me into these grass mats. So the only way to remedy this is you have to get underneath the kayak. So either flip the kayak over or get out in the water like I did for Joe McElroy at the Bassmaster. Get up under there and pop it back straight. I'm sitting in this little pocket, and there's like 2 or 3 little gators around. I'm like, this is stupid. Like I'm an idiot for doing this. So I strip down, take my warm clothes off, get in the water, and I tried to get up under there at like knee deep level, but I couldn't get far enough down to get any leverage, so I had to push the kayak out into about 5 feet, get up to my chest, and pop the thing around. And I was still trying to stay positive. I'm like, you're fine, you have plenty of time. I gave it a shot. I texted AJ and told him, that the drive had crapped out on me, or it's not the drive, it's the clutch inside, but he's like, what can we do? You wants to bring you a boat, give you a tow? And I'm like, nope, like this is on me. I made the decision to leave my truck across the freaking lake. I knew that the handle was tight. I had my spare boat on the trailer just in case this happened. But because I didn't get to launch 200 yards away, I had to launch 3 miles away. It really changed the whole flow of day one for me. I got 3 fish. I fished miles and miles of bank grass on the way back and couldn't get bit, and went into day 2, smashed day 2, caught a good limit on day 3, but those 2 fish, man, they bit me. I knew they would. I'm okay with it. This is how tournaments go, but always try to be prepared. And the lesson to myself is in decision making. It was a bad call to in my head think that I had to cross a lake just to fish that one spot. I should have just went on to my B spot, so my vehicle was close. That's on the chin right there.
Hey, you know what though? Hats off to you. A lot of people would have folded up shop and said, "The heck with this," but you had a good 2 days to finish up. And somebody said earlier in the chat, I think it was on YouTube, it'll teach you to get to a ramp early. Never do that again.
I won't. Don't worry. I won't. I promise.
Yeah, man. But yeah, let's get these winners in here. What do you say? Looks like Kristine's off camera, but we'll throw her picture of a couch in here regardless until she gets back on.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Let me get things turned around here. All right. Jordan Marshall, what's up, man?
What's up, guys?
The AOY is in the house, and then we've got a beautiful couch waiting on our champ. The grand champ's going to make an entrance like grand champs do. She'll be back on the frame here in a minute. There she is. Oh,
just like her limit, Kristine comes in late.
Yeah. Did you hear that, Kristine?
What's that?
I said, just like your limit, you come sliding in after we throw the camera on.
Had to refill.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, boy.
Right. Well, hey, congrats, champ.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So we're going to have some fun talking about this tonight. And, of course, we got to start with the champ. So, Kristine, tell us, how things led up to the tournament. I mean, how long were you there? What was the week looking like? How are you feeling going into the tournament?
Oh, man, you guys. I got there on Monday. Started practice late Monday and had heard kind of some rumors the lake was fishing pretty tough and I kind of expected it to be pretty tough. My demeanor going in, for whatever reason, I just, we get towards the end of the season and we put so much effort into it. I had just wrapped up the national championship. I was kind of tired. I was kind of just weirdly checked out of the tournament going in. Didn't expect much. And honestly, I think that's probably why I ended up fishing so good. In my mind, I had nothing on the line, nothing to lose. Just happy to be there with some good people and, fish the tournament and kind of be done with that. And my practice did not go very well. I think I caught maybe 5 or 6 fish total. And I wasn't really trying to catch them. I never really do. I was mostly trying to just get an understanding of what was going on the lake. Where people were kind of fishing. I like to try to find areas that might be overlooked, especially for a 3-day tournament. I knew areas like Kawiki and some of the more popular places that people were saying this is where it's going to be won. And I stayed clear away from that stuff and ended up just going and fishing my strengths and, deciding I was going to live or die by a bite in less than 3 foot of water for the 3 days. And it ended up working out.
Yeah.
Looking at your pictures, were you fishing that damn bank grass?
Yeah. That willow grass. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I thought I saw Shane's pictures and I was like, there's no freaking way she caught all her fish in that crap. I hated fishing that stuff and I didn't get bit out of it is one reason I hated it, I think.
They were definitely unproductive areas. I was specifically looking for stuff that was on the east side of the lake where the northwest wind was blowing all that warm main lake water into those pockets, looking for areas where, that bank grass made subtle points. And then the most productive stuff for me was those tiny little isolated clumps. It's I could almost call my shot. There's going to be fish on that.
You did it. You did it, kid.
You did it. So, after day one, you're sitting there with a respectable limit. You're in 11th place. You had 77 inches, and it was one of those leaderboards. Besides the top 2 guys, it was kind of stacked. Everybody was really, it was pretty tight. Were you feeling pretty good? Like you were going to be able to make a jump day 2 and 3? Like you were on the right stuff?
Well, day 1, I had 2 guys start in my area. Actually, Brian Howell was there and Joey Vanyo. They only caught 1 fish apiece out of the area. Day 2, I had it all to myself. And after I was getting a limit, I was loading up and actually leaving and fishing brand new water each day. I was planning on not fishing the same stuff. I was more fishing a pattern over a spot and just trying to go places that, and I could run that pattern. I honestly didn't think I had more than 80 inches in that area. I had a little tiny spot in the back I was starting on that it was way in the back of a pocket. It was about a 50-yard stretch where a channel made a big bend in a pocket. And there was a ton of little 13, 14 inchers back there. I could usually get a limit pretty fast and then leave and go cull other places. However, day 3, I didn't get a limit very quickly at all. I had 4 really good fish because a bass boat actually beat me back to that spot. and it forced me to fish other things. And I ended up kind of figuring out there might be some bigger fish in this area. And so I stayed there all day, and I was very surprised by the bites I got that day. I mean, I had some bigger fish, definitely some bigger fish on that last day, just staying in that area and just really methodically kind of picking it apart. But I didn't know, I had no idea it was capable of that, though.
When you caught that fifth keeper, did you know that you won it?
It was a 13-incher. It was by far the smallest fish in my limit. I hadn't looked, so I had my phone on airplane mode almost all day. I took it off the airplane mode one time just to call my grandpa when I got my fifth. I had a weird feeling. I started crying. Shane Durant's was right there, and I hooked that 13-incher. I had tears. I don't know why. I really just wanted to get 5 fish. I was like, a 13-incher is not going to win me this tournament, but I was just so thankful just to get 5 fish, because it was probably 12:30 when I got that fifth. And my grandpa, I knew he was freaking out because I was having an issue submitting fish early, and I usually like to wait till I have a limit. And then my phone is connected to my Garmin, and I can't figure out how to get it to stop. So anytime someone calls me or texts me, it comes on my Garmin. And my phone was blowing up all morning. And I finally just said, all right, I'm done trying to mess with this. I'm turning my phone on airplane mode. I'm going to focus on fishing. Took it off for that 1 second to call my pa. And I did. The emotions like swept over me. And I had this weird feeling that might have been a very important fish. But in the back of my mind, I was like, there's so many good anglers, and the bite's going to get good in the afternoon. This probably isn't going to win it, but regardless, this should get me what I thought would be a top 3. And I was going to be so happy with that.
Definitely was a top 3. And you didn't cull that fish. That 13 stayed on your stringer.
No, I did not cull that
fish. So literally one 13-inch fish won you the TOC.
Yeah, I caught 5. I landed 5 fish that day total. That was the last fish I put in the boat. I only got 2 bites after that, honestly, and I lost both of them. And I was fine with it. It's one of those things where you kind of realize when it's your time, and we all lose fish, and we kind of have to accept that as tournament anglers. Yeah, is that 13-incher?
That's it, right there.
That was
money fish right there.
I squeezed that thing, so I think I was so happy to see that coming to my boat, you guys. It was pretty crazy.
Jake Harshman says you can turn off those notifications, Kristine, LOL.
I'm aware that you can. I just don't know how.
Jake will teach you how to run your Garmin if you'll teach him how to catch fish.
Edwin said he'd do the same thing if I taught him how to be a better public speaker. I don't know if I can fix that, though, with that kid.
Wait a minute. What did you just say? Edwin's giving you advice on that?
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh, man.
He just got a profile picture on Tourney X, so it's baby steps for Edwin.
I'm so proud of him.
We're working on the kid.
Yeah.
He's in good hands.
Looking at your limits, you had a 13-incher on day 1, too. So out of your 15 fish, two 13s in there.
Lucky 13.
And, we're going to get to Jordan here in a second, but talking about this 3-day tournament, you were 11th on day 1. Your day 2 limit was 4th, which is awesome, obviously. And then your day 3 limit was 5th of day 3. So you didn't have the biggest bag of any day, but that consistency over 3 days, I mean, that's huge. And that speaks volumes to how difficult it is to stay consistent over multiple day tournaments. I mean, 2-day events are hard, but how was this 3-day format to you? I guess you just fished the national championship, which was similar, but how did this hit you mentally and from a preparation standpoint?
Well, going into it knowing, I think a lot of us, Jordan and Lambert can attribute to this. We knew it was going to be tough, and that it was all about fishing clean and fish. You're literally fishing for 6-7 bites probably. And knowing that going in, it's like it mentally wears you out. It's not like, we were on Bisno. We know you could put up 100 inches in a matter of 20 minutes, for the national championship. We were going out on a lake where a 15-incher was a dang good fish to have in your limit. So just doing that, the mental thing was huge. I mean, huge for me. And I think like I said, the big reason I think I did so well is because I was so relaxed and so calm. And I was I really didn't feel like I had anything at all to lose. And I was able to stay mentally so much more put together than I had for any other big tournament. So I like the 3-day. I think for a championship, it really makes anglers put their best foot forward, and we get to see who can manage their fish and most importantly, make really good decisions. So I think we saw that in this tournament.
Yeah, that's probably what knocked me out from the beginning.
That's your stubbornness, Lambert.
Yep. All right, let's hear from the angler of the year, the man with the mullet, Jordan Marshall.
Anything, Jordan. No.
Jordan Marshall.
Hey, Kristine, just
Damn,
hey,
I feel like I'm talking to Tim Isaacs right now.
hey, Kristine, we had a side thing going with all the moderators that if Jordan had the clean sweep, I had to grow a mullet. So I'm glad you took the.
I'm sure Ashley's so happy.
I physically probably couldn't do it, so it had to have been a wig. It'd have been terrible.
It was about to get expensive. Jeff was going to have hair implants and all kinds of stuff. But
Man.
Anyway.
They before I caught that last fish, so that was part of the excitement was sending them that video of that last fish I caught, because I was like, man, I cannot wait to see Jeff with a mullet, and I Cruz might have agreed to that too. It was Cruz or Shane.
Yeah, Cruz was in on that too. I think he was the first one to say it if he cashed it. But yeah, man, tell us about your tournament.
I got down there late Tuesday night after working like 14 hours, and I'd heard guys down there pre-fishing that it was rough, and the first day I get there and I'm looking around, there was at no point in time in the couple days that I looked around and practiced did I ever feel like, okay, this is where I need to go. I got a couple fish here, a couple fish there. I caught a couple fish everywhere I went, but I didn't catch anything over 17. And, I actually put in that first morning at a boat ramp that I hadn't even been to, but it was close to an area that I was at. And I literally had my 5 fish from day one within sight of my truck. And that was after I watched Russ and Lambert pedal 3 miles across the lake. I just sat there in that little area all day. Literally caught a fish probably within casting distance of the boat ramp first thing in the morning. That was my big fish. And, I just kind of rode that through the day and used it, to my limit early. I basically left, went up to where I thought I could maybe get some bigger bites. And when I got up there, everybody was up there. Dusty was there. Jackson was there. Basically, everybody that was up north, they were all at the same area. And I went and looked around and, didn't really want to ruin anybody's fish. Just went up there and thought I could cull some fish, and didn't really feel like that's something I could go back up there the next day doing. And day 2, I went back to the same spot, tried to see if I could find some more fish near the boat ramp. And of course, that was just a very fortunate thing that I'd found on day 1. I think it was just an overlooked spot that nobody fished in practice, and it took me all day to get a limit. I had like a line burner 12 for my 5th fish at like 1:30, and ended up culling it out with like a 12 3/4 or something like that. And I felt like the hero for culling 3/4 inches of fish on the end of 2, but covered a lot of water. I mean, a ridiculous amount of water, both day 2 and day 3. Day 3, all my stuff was gone. I had no idea what I was going to do, and most of my fish from the first 2 days came on a jackhammer just covering water. And I sat down with a map at the end of day 2 while I was waiting for somebody to give me a ride, and looked at where the boat ramps were, where all the places that I thought might be slide put ins or something like that. And as soon as I got in my truck, I drove all the way back north to look at a spot, and ended up being private property. And I was like, how in the world am I going to get there? I thought that was a cove that it was like 4 miles from any boat ramp. And I was like, I got to figure out how to get there. So I found the 2, above river and below river ramps, and put in and basically did A to B float like I would do at home, and just covered probably 2 or 3 pockets that I don't think anybody fished at all, because that morning, the first one I went to was about 2 or 3 miles up. And I got in there and I got probably 15 bites in the first 2 hours, or hour and a half maybe. And I just don't think those fish had seen anybody the whole week. And then pedaled down to end up where I caught the big fish and culled like 8 1/4 inches in the last 10 minutes when I finally made it down to that creek that I'd wanted to get to, and literally caught a fish directly across from where that little spot I made on a map to go check at was private property. I mean, it was right there. I mean, I could tell looking at it, it was just right. And, finally made it there, and, just had a very fortunate day at the end. A cold big fish, and Lambert's right. I was about I didn't know what to say. The video I was about half teared up in, and I had a 4-mile paddle back at the end of day 3 to get back to a boat ramp, and the whole 4 miles I was just like calling people and trying to upload fish, and hold on, I got to get off the phone. I gotta make sure my fish submitted, and I make sure a fish submitted, and I start calling people again, and I was getting excited, and I was pretty sure that I had Angler of the Year at that point, and I thought I might have had a better shot for the win than I did, but one of those things. Somebody asked me, if I could finish second going into it and take that offhand, that was all I really wanted going down there, was to win Angler of the Year, or at least finish, in the top 3 so I qualify for Worlds. But, the goal was for Angler of the Year and not necessarily winning the tournament. That would have been a bonus. Last year was the year that my goal was to win the TOC. So I'm not putting, anger on anybody. But
you got robbed.
Are the words I said. That one last year still stung more than the one this year. So,
I'm on the phone with Marshall, and he's like, well, I feel like it's kind of, I'm supposed to win this one since I got robbed last year. And I'm like, man, come on now. That wasn't robbery.
Frustration.
Is the rumor true that the...
Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, when you decided to make that A to B float, did you have an out, or did you have to scramble to find a ride after the fact?
I had so Matt Millard, who finished 4th, who I had met a couple times, I think, before this weekend. He ended up staying with me and Road Dog Eric Thompson, and he stayed with us, and he was in. I don't think anybody particularly cares now that we're not there anymore, but he was in Rude Creek. I don't give a crap if we go back to that place or not.
Amen. Amen, brother.
Being honest,
agreed.
I was, I have no desire. I'm not saying I won't go back there, because I said the same thing about Susky a couple years ago. I just seeing it back on the schedule doesn't really excite me. Now there's a chance I'll probably go just because I'm competitive. But he was in Rude Creek, and I literally on the 3rd day floated from Florence Marina to Rude Creek after going 2 miles up to a little creek and then going all the way back down. And I told him, I said, if you're going to be there all day, that would be fantastic, but don't stay there just because you're waiting on me or whatever. And he kind of kept in touch with me. Hey, I'm freaking wrecking him, and he did. He got on him early in the morning, and he was kind enough to give me a ride at the end of the day. That really helped. But I know there's a lot of guys that would do that on day 2. Brady Stores, a young guy from Nebraska. I might have said his last name wrong.
You're right.
Good kid. Good. You're not a kid anymore, but good kid.
He's a great kid.
I had no idea who Brady was, and when I rolled up at the boat ramp on day 2, he was there, and he's like, "Hey man, how are you doing?" I was like, "I'm good. I'm freaking tired," but that was not a plan to go to a different boat ramp on day 2. Covered so much water, I just was kind of doing whatever. And Eric was coming to pick me up, and he was at the other end of the lake, and Brady was giving me a ride about the time G showed up and asked for a ride. So Brady was pulling double duty, and that's something I mentioned to some people this weekend that were asking me about the kayak tournaments. You won't have that a lot with bass boat tournaments, and guys that are nice enough that they've never met you before, that are, hey man, we'll load your stuff up there. There's no reason for somebody to drive 30 minutes up here. I'll give you a ride, no problem. Let me move my stuff. That's things like that are very much appreciated, and they get overlooked a lot, as well as I don't think I mentioned all the people that I appreciated texting me and calling me and things on day 2 and 3. You know, I really appreciate that. I had a lot of really long pedals between creeks that I was at, and you know, I can't stay off my phone. I was checking the leaderboard, singing. So I actually spent a lot more time on my phone on day 3 than I normally do, and I appreciated every one of those calls and texts and Facebook messages and comments and everything else. I read every bit of them, and I tried to respond back to every one of them, and I appreciate every one of those.
You know, this wasn't a Thursday. This some Thursday nighter. This was the championship event, and people are offering to give you rides and whatnot. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'll say, I mean, out of the people that are in this event, you know, a lot of us have put a lot of miles, a lot of time, a lot of money into chasing this. I think there's kind of a higher level of respect, you know, for the work that was put in to get, like, you want everybody to have their best day. Like, even though you're competing against each other, like, you want everybody to bring it, to have a good time on the water. You know, you try to help each other out. And, you know, if you're passing by somebody, and like Edwin, for instance, he was on a little punching, I don't know who told him that, a little punching and flipping bite, but he ran out of flipping hooks. So he takes all my flipping hooks with him. You know, just, I mean, helping each other, whether it's a ride or tackle or even loading a kayak. You know, I think that's something that, like Jordan said, our sport kind of has this uniqueness to it. And as people get more involved in it, they see kind of that close-knit sort of dysfunctional family style that we have going.
Yeah. Unbelievable, both of you, the accomplishments that you pulled off this year. Tell me this, and Kristine, you can go first since you won the tournament this week, but what does winning this event mean to you compared to all the other events you fished in and competed in or cast checks? What does winning this event mean? I mean, you see Ryan with that trophy on his desk. It meant the world to him when he did it. What did this mean to pull this off?
Well, I mean, first off, y'all, I think we can agree that this is the most prestigious event that we have. I mean, I've said it to a lot of people, you know, in the industry that I've been calling to do some interviews over the last day. I think that this event is kind of like equivalent to the Bassmaster Classic for us. I think that's pretty fair to say that. And I still think I got to tip my hat to Marshall. Winning Angler of the Year in this series is by far, I think, the biggest accomplishment. Anybody can go out there and win it, but to get Angler of the Year is something. I mean, I've wanted to get Angler of the Year so bad. I haven't yet. Well, one day, hopefully, I will. But to win it, I still really haven't. I'm sure Lambert can agree with this. Like, when you win it, and Jody said the same thing, it doesn't really hit you until, you know, a few days later. It's been overwhelming just being able to say that it happened. I've won some tournaments in the last few years, and winning this one is definitely the biggest win in my entire career. And I just feel really, really grateful. And like I said in the awards, I couldn't at all do it without so many people in the community, you know, mentoring me and just encouraging me and lifting me up. And I mean, y'all have supported me since day one. And
I remember when you were taking upside down pics in Nebraska out of a Jackson,
catching little 16-inch farm
throwback Thursday
4-pounder. Yeah, I was a terrible bass fisherman. I mean, absolutely terrible bass fisherman. So I've come a long way. I've got a long way to go yet, but I'm trying to get better every day. And like I said, everybody in that room has helped me in one way or the other. And just to be able to be there and win that event, as you can tell, I don't really have the words just yet, but I'm thankful for it for sure.
Yeah. And Jordan, to you, man, I mean, you said it yourself, you were wanting that AOY coming into the event, and especially after a good day one. What does it mean to cap that off and win it?
It means a lot. I think one of the biggest things I could probably say is, you know, winning Angler of the Year when I feel like I come up short a whole lot. I've never won like a regional event or anything, whether it's bass or Hobie, and I feel like I've just gotten really, really close a few times. I mean, I finished second at TOC the last couple of years, and I've led like 2 or 3 days on the first days of Hobie events, and it's, you know, winning Angler of the Year is kind of a validity thing to me as much as anything. I feel like that's one of those things where A few years ago, I didn't fish as well off the Tennessee River as I do on the Tennessee River. And I remember hearing somebody make a comment that, I'd have to figure out how to fish outside of Tennessee or fish off the Tennessee River. And, I've not forgot that, but
That's a lie. Don't worry about it.
I mean, it's one of those things at the time, they might've been more right, but it now, it's one of those things where, I want people to know when I show up that, this is, I'm here to win a tournament, and that's, the next thing is to win a Hobie event or win a regional event and kind of do things, something along those lines. Cause it's, Angler of the Year is a big deal, and I do really appreciate it, but I promise there's nobody that's trying harder to win an individual event than me, and there's nobody that's going to appreciate it as much as I will when it does happen, because it's going to happen.
Man, you go over to the other side, the bass boat world. You're talking about Gerald Swindle, I think Seth Fighter this year, the former AOYs on the Elite Series that have never won an Elite Series event, but their talent is top notch. I mean, Seth Fighter's, arguably the best in the world. Never pulled off an event. He will one day, just like you will, because you're one. Always talked about as one of the elite guys here. So to win AOY is fitting and well deserved, man. So we're all proud for you and pumped for you.
I appreciate.
That's a big kind of statement to your consistency, and just like Kristine proved this point, consistency just won her the TOC, but consistency won you the kind of crowning achievement of the entire season. So the fact that you haven't won one, I don't think is necessarily, makes people like respect you any less or look at your talents any less, because you're smashing, like you're cashing checks in Arkansas, for God's sakes. Like, I don't know who even fishes out there, but you're doing it all over the place.
I still take a little bit of credit for last year for talking Jordan into coming to Dardanelle, which got him into that top 3 of AOY. Isn't that true, Jordan?
Right. Yeah. I got Thompson to come to Dardanelle, and it was, I don't remember, maybe one day of practice, if any practice. And I basically down there days and drove 10 hours home to be at work the next morning after the tournament. So that was basically the same thing I did at Pickwick this year, was just show up, find somewhere that nobody's at, and catch fish and drive home.
Yeah, man. Trying to find some questions in the comments here. If anybody has any questions for these guys, shoot them in, and I'll try to throw them on the screen for them. I know there's been a bunch of comments fly by that I missed.
Throw Dylan's comment. You can throw it up about how he is acting like he knew what it was going to take to do anything down on this damn lake. I swear that boy ain't never seen Eufala before in his life. I'll go ahead and throw that out there. I don't know what his daddy's told him. I don't know what lake his daddy was fishing, but that ain't it. It was not that place. This boy,
low to mid 80s.
Boy, oh my goodness gracious. Who was it? Listen, this is a real conversation I want to have. Hobie did that pre-fishing interview with Jay and Joey Vanyo. Did one of them not say 280 something was going to win it?
Joey did.
Holy shit.
We put that on our house, and all of us laughed.
I mean, I don't know what, and he did catch at least one big fish that I saw a picture of pre-fishing, but to bet 280 on that one was rough, I'm afraid.
He calling names in the comments. Look at this kid.
Well, he'll have to call him in the podcast, because he ain't going to call him live from a TOC. I promise you that. Baby deal. What are your thoughts on how pre-fishing went and how the final totals ended up? I mean, we saw a couple big bags. There were some upper 80s bags that got turned in throughout the tournament, but I mean, overall, is this about what you expected? Is it less than what you expected? Kristine, go ahead and answer that one first.
Well, I was I'm at the Kozas now. I was with the Kozas right before I came down here. And Jamie, Saturday night or Sunday morning, whatever it was, predicted, he's like, it'll take 75 inches to win. And I thought that was probably a little low. And again, I didn't know what to expect. I'd never fished Eufala. I knew it was going to suck. But I was thinking, after talking to some of the guys, I'm staying with the Russes and Codys and G's and Scotches of the world that are very, very dialed. And I kind of knew what they were catching. And I definitely wasn't on anything like that. In my head, I was really shooting for like 78 to 80 inches a day is what I thought, would definitely get you paid. To win it, I knew 280 was not gonna happen. But I was thinking maybe 80 a day could possibly have a chance to win the tournament.
Dead on. Dead on. We got some more questions. Jordan, you see this one here. How do you fish without any electronics? That's crazy.
A lot of map study, honestly. But before I go to a tournament, I don't spend a whole lot of time getting to pre-fish. I get 10 days off of work a year, and I work a bunch extra to be able to take some comp time off. Like last week, before I left, I worked like 14 hours on Monday and 14 or 16 hours on Tuesday, and then drove 6 hours down there just so I could, have an extra day on Wednesday because I heard it was tough. But I mean, a lot of it's just looking at maps, looking at boat ramps, looking at places I can slide the boat in, being really attentive when other people are talking about their practice. I mean, everybody likes to brag. Everybody likes to say what they're catching fish on. And a lot of times you'll pick up a lot of stuff of what people are doing that adds up a little bit here and a little bit there. And you kind of put stuff together in the back of your mind and add it to what you're learning yourself. Because it's not always about catching fish in practice. It's about learning what you're needing to look for and trying to find fish. And honestly, is sometimes the most important part is figuring out where there's not fish and figuring out where there's not a million people at. I hate being around other people as far as just on the water goes. There's no doubt about that. I just assume cover water. A lot of people like to sit in one place and make fish bite. I like to just make as many casts as possible and find fish that are feeding because, they're a lot more aggressive, and a lot of times I don't have to take nearly as much tackle and I can cover a lot of water and I don't have to carry electronics or any of that other stuff. So I just like to keep it simple. And that's keep it simple and, try to stay away from everybody and try to cover more water than everybody else.
Man, I love that because you're talking about this year. We've got winners that won with a paddle. They didn't have pedals or anything like that. They were paddling. You're winning with no electronics. Lambert half the time doesn't have electronics. So people that are watching this that are thinking about making the jump to national type events, you do not have to have 15 rods and a live scope and the best pedal drive. Just whatever you got a chance. If you know how to catch them, you got a chance. That's all you need.
Absolutely. The electronics probably wouldn't have done me a whole lot of good in any of the tournaments I did. But let's be honest. Pickwick, I was in a place that looked more alligator infested than Eufala, even though there were no alligators there. I was just waiting on something to pop up and snag me, chew copper. And then Susky, the water was moving so quick through there. It was basically just make as many casts as possible and lose a bunch of fish. I mean, because there were plenty of fish chilling around waiting to eat. It's basically just trying not to lose fish.
We got a couple more questions. Did you see this one, Ryan? This is an important one. This is for Kristine. Who has the bragging rights in Kristine's house?
Well, goodness.
Define Kristine's house. Let's start there first.
I'd like to clarify. Is it the house I'm in here or because I don't know if y'all know, but I am technically homeless again right now. So what would we like to, what is my house?
Oh boy. I think he probably means your relationship.
I would think. Yeah, that's what
reading between the lines.
Yeah, there's been a lot of comments about that. Obviously G and I had a really incredible month. I think we had almost 100 grand between the two of us in 2 tournaments. So, and ironically enough, my main goal of the whole year, I really wanted to qualify for the 10. That was a big thing for me. And I kind of blew that on day 1 of the NC, but I put that aside, and so many of my friends did so good in that tournament that I was happy for them. And G came into this one wanting to win Angler of the Year. He was right there. I mean, just a point behind Brian, a couple points behind Ewing. And I know he had a really tough event, but he was able to kind of come together and be really happy and excited and cheer me on. And it's hard to do, and it's really, really hard when you go into an event and you didn't have the performance, but your friends do well, and you've got to pull it together and show them support. And so many of mine did that despite having, a really bad performance. So as far as bragging rights, I think y'all know G's is a much better angler than I am. I mean, he just is. That's no doubt. I try to learn from him every single day. One day maybe I'll get there, but he won about double the money, and he's just a better angler. But I did every once in a while I get one in on him, and I was happy to get this one.
Clifton is begging you to be cocky in the comments.
I can't. I just can't do it.
All right.
Yeah.
So Clifton actually asked a question earlier. Did you have a spinning rod in the boat? And I heard what you said you were throwing, so I want to hear this answer myself too.
For me or for Marshall?
For you. He wants to know if the Queen was throwing a spinning
that's right.
setup in the TOC.
The last tournament, he told me to throw a drop shot, and I said absolutely not. I did actually. Day 1 and day 2, I didn't pick up a spinning rod. I was flipping and punching, skipping a swim jig around that grass. But day 3, with that, that the water dropped a little bit, probably 8 inches, and obviously that freeze. I caught all my fish on a spinning rod. Every single last one of them.
There you go, Cliff.
Yeah, that was for you, Cliff.
Spinning rod for you. And you know what? That's something we hadn't talked about yet, is that weather did change over the 3 days. I mean, you could see it I think you could see it in your pictures, Kristine. You had on regular shoes, and it went to boundary boots by day 3.
Oh, yeah, gloves on. I mean, it was cold.
Yeah.
It was cold that morning.
What did that do to y'all's fish? It looked like people were still catching them. Did you just change up on how you targeted them, or what? What happened there?
I mean, I don't know about Marshall, but I was catching them pretty fast day 1 and day 2. But on day 3, I didn't even try to fish fast. I just immediately went in and was skipping a fluke deep back into that bank grass and letting it, just kind of soaking it. And I got bit. I mean, I caught that 18.5 incher on my first cast of day 3. And then I caught that 17.5 right after, and then a 19 actually behind that bass boat that went in. He came out to that point, went past me. We exchanged some words. They were fishing a tournament too. And he's I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm just going to go 100 yards up and hit just really good point up there. And I caught a 19 right behind him. And they were fishing buzz baits. I saw what they were doing. And so the whole day, I didn't even try to fish fast. Maybe I should have. I'm sure Marshall was throwing a spinner bait or something. I almost bet my life on it. That's what he was doing.
Bait fish this weekend, believe it or not.
No spinnerbait fish.
No
chatter jigging.
I threw it a whole bunch, way more than I should have. I don't think I had a single bite on a spinner.
Really? I know one of the guys, I think it was Matt Millard, right? Said he caught them all on spinnerbait.
Yeah, I was jealous. I just didn't catch them on spinnerbait as anything.
Me too. I didn't even try it though. I just slowed way down and got the 5 bites that I thought I needed.
The colder it got, the faster I fished.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, on day 3, I realized I had to kind of swing for the fences, and I went like 13 miles or something like that on day and just fished. I mean, the camera boats will tell you. I mean, I left them a few times. They were trolling, and I just fish away from them. They'd motor up and get back down near me, but yeah, it was as fast as I could go on day 3. No questions asked. The only reason I slowed down is if I had one kind of swirl at it, and I'd flip a fluke back in there or something.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was pretty much it.
Some more comments sliding in there. Marshall, can I play this video? From where you caught that last one? I think it's awesome, so I want to play it.
Literally, last cast, 2 o'clock, biggest fish of the weekend. Let's go, 20 twin. Let's go.
Man.
Tell us about that one. What do you think you had there when you caught that one? Do you think you put?
I thought that was probably between AOY and the tournament. I thought that was like a $40,000 fish. I'd be lying if I didn't think that. I was calling people, I did it, let's go. I was pumped at the time. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think that was 100% game over. I mean, you don't catch a 20-inch fish at 2:00:14 and not think that's how that goes. When the leaderboard went down, Cole 8 inches, and I'm hypothetically 3 or 4 inches ahead of where the tournament went down. So. I mean, you guys know, I think y'all were the first people that got that video when I barely had any service, because I wanted to see Jeff with a mullet. But that's one of those things. I ain't mad at it. That's just at that moment. I mean, you can hear it in my voice. I mean, that's pure raw excitement right there, and excitement that's almost a freaking tears, and y'all can hear that because it's. There's no shortage of passion, whether it's me, catching a donkey at the end of the day, or me having a bad day and snapping a rod over. Sure, y'all have heard had meltdowns. They really exist, and I hope no one ever sees any that haven't already. It's something we spend a lot of time and effort in, and I think. If you don't care that much, then there's something wrong with you, at least my opinion. I'm a competitive person, though.
So did y'all talk before the final announcement? Did you know? Y'all didn't know? Because Kristine, you look pretty jumpy up there, like you didn't know what was going to happen.
I was a little, yeah, I didn't. I heard rumor that Marshall had beat Ron by 10 inches was the rumor, and I was like, well, I sure didn't beat Ron by 10 inches, so I thought Marshall won it. I heard he absolutely smashed him, and like I said, I figured he would. Marshall's, I knew he was going to bring his all, and it was a shallow bite, and Marshall's one of the best shallow fishermen out there. So I was like, I figured he was going to smash him. I didn't look at the leaderboard all day except for one time early when I turned my phone on for that split second. So like I said, I had no idea. I heard he beat Ron by a ton, and I knew I only beat Ron by, I think, 6 or 7 inches, and I didn't beat him by 10. So I was ready to take home second place and be very happy about it.
A Doc Talk doing its thing.
That's the best ending to a tournament that I can ever remember seeing. Usually these tournaments you kind of have in your head going into awards, like where people are sitting roundabout, and we were all happy and hugging and all kinds of stupid stuff before the deal, and we sat down at the table, and Matt Millard was sitting at our table, who in our minds we thought was third, and we were talking about Marshall's polygraph. And I was like, Matt, what'd you think about the polygraph? He's like, I didn't get polygraphed. And I was like, uh-oh. Okay. I'm no rocket scientist, but there's a surprise here somewhere.
That was the first moment where I didn't think like get my and Matt's like, yeah, I didn't get polygraphed. Dusty was sitting out there in the waiting area, outside the room, and I was like, okay, well, he had a good lead. That's who I was expecting, and they called the three of us up there, and I was like, what in the world is happening here?
And then I'm serious, like we're sitting at the table, and they say, AJ's like, third place, Ron champion. I felt like. Just like the world just stopped spinning. Thomason turned around, jaw on the ground, and I was like, oh shit. something crazy is about to go down right here. And you can't be disappointed, for either one of them to win it. But it was like because you're in this mindset. Like I was asking Jordan, I was like, you want me and Eric to come pick you up and carry you around on our shoulders? Like, what? What kind of celebration do you want to do? And Kristine just gently grabs the corner of the rug and slides it on
as she slowly takes a drink of the wine right there just to kind of rub it in. I like that.
Man. It was wild. It was a wild ending.
Yeah, you should have threw some gang signs or something when that happened, Kristine. You had the chance to drop the mic.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, I felt kind of bad. I heard Ron thought he won it. I heard Ron was crying at the ramp, and then Marshall thought he won. Oops.
See, that's about how it went. She heard that they were all crying at the ramp, and she just knocked them right off the pedestal.
That's hilarious. Hey, Clifton asked a little question. We're going to wrap this thing up pretty soon because I know you guys are beat. Do you guys, either one, or Ryan, yourself, I never have this problem, ever find yourself not wanting to be followed by the camera boat?
I had them really follow me around until the weekend, and I had two of them. Two of them come by this weekend. Steve was around and Cody was around, and I didn't think much of it. Cody pulled in, mic'd me up. I told him I was about to leave that area and was kind of having a conversation with him as I went out. And I told him, I said, I haven't really caught any fish on this main channel, but I think this little area looks good because it kind of looks like an extension of the creek as it comes around. And I bet I didn't make, 30 casts or so after I talked to him, and lost a really good fish kind of on camera, and then lost 2 more fish, and I was about to tell him to leave, and had a 2-mile pedal to get to the next creek. And the whole time, I'm trying to relax, I'm listening to music, and I'm mic'd up, and I was eating a sandwich and drinking some water and trying to relax, and I'm sitting there the whole time thinking, this son of a gun follows me to this next creek and I start losing fish, I'm gonna tell you. And but Cody's really nice. That by no means were they in the way or anything. It was just because the boat's there doesn't make a difference. That's a big fish that wasn't meant to happen. That's in the past I would have got really frustrated, and I'm kind of glad the camera boat was on me because it kind of made me think, hey, don't spin out at this point in the day. You've got a good limit, and you've still got a lot of ground to cover. So and if anything, I'm glad the camera boat was there.
What about you, Kristine?
You put it out of your mind? You just roll?
No, funny thing is, Cody's a really good friend of mine, and Shane is a good friend of mine too. Shane's been there, filming me the last several years, and we've had this like ongoing thing that every time he's there, I've never done anything that cool. I do the complete opposite. I start making terrible casts. I get wind knots. I breaks off, and I was like, Shane, this time, like something really cool is going to happen. And I did catch that 5th fish. He was there to see that and capture the call with my grandpa, which was great. I can't wait to get that footage. But I was fishing pretty good up until they got there. I hadn't broken off a fish all tournament, and I had about a 19-20 incher come up on that fluke. I watched him come up and eat it. I reeled down and set it, and it snapped. Not my leader, just down the line. I don't even know how that happens. And then the last 30 minutes of the day, Cody Prather rolls up as I make a beautiful cast, set into like a probably 17 inch or so, and get it out of the grass, and he gets ready to do his camera, and I don't know what happened, but there's a single blade of grass, the fish goes into it and gets off, and that was all she wrote. It's like, so I had 2 opportunities to just do something remotely cool on camera, and for whatever reason, like I just lose it, and I can't. And I wear my GoPros all day long, and I've gotten to the point where I'm so used to that that doesn't really bother me. But when those guys get around, I'm like, gosh, I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing. I want to make all these good casts and
stand on the front hatch. Yeah. Stand on the front hatch.
Something stupid. So it's I got to get over that. It's been a few years. You think I'd be better by this point, but I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah, that's funny. We're going to get a few more things before we go. One more thing for everybody. They announced the TOC location for next year, which was Caddo. What y'all think about that? I was thinking somewhere deep in Texas, and they hit us with Caddo.
I'm down with Caddo. I enjoyed the lake. I enjoyed the area. I enjoyed Shreveport, the Hustler Club. I mean, I think it's a great location.
I'm stoked too. I do know Caddo can G did a photo shoot down there 2 years ago, the same time of year, and there was a little tiny cold front, and I think they caught 1 fish in 3 days, and it shut the entire lake down. So it can't, and it's probably going to happen. It wouldn't be a TOC without ridiculously tough fishing. But the lake's beautiful. I mean, I know y'all, Lambert can attest to this. It's an incredible lake to fish. There's giant bass, and I think it'll be a really, really neat event.
I haven't been to Caddo since the first national championship down there, and I piddled around Caddo for a couple days, saw 9 million snakes, and jackhammer, spinnerbait, or a frog like I was told I was going to do. Seemed like that year we were down there, everybody was catching fish on black and blue Senkos. So
Yep, that was true.
I'm not a big Senko throwing individual, so I might have to expand the arsenal before we get back down there. But I promise I'm going to throw a spinnerbait more than everybody else when we do go back down. It's the fall. Not forget about that.
Yeah, and then before we go, we didn't want to lead this. We didn't want to lead the show with this, but we're going to finish with it. TOC was a great event. BOS puts on a great season, but on this podcast, we always talk about anything and everything with any event, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. And the first day, one of the guys that was in contention for the AOY, Russ Snyder's, was up there in like third place, and then all of a sudden, poof, he was in 50th place. And of course, the internet went to chattering, trying to figure out what's going on. And Hobie came out with a statement. I think it was on their live feed Friday night, explaining what had happened and their ruling on the thing, and kind of cleared it up. Basically, Russ turned himself in for fishing illegal water. And just like a precedent has been set on, I think, MLF and the Elite Series, when that happens, when you fish illegal water, they will disqualify your day. That's kind of a standard that I've seen in different organizations. So that's what they did. He got his day one DQ'd. I thought the ruling was pretty good, and the tournament moved on. And then, that was that. Except today, I think it was today, maybe it was yesterday, Russ posted his response to that, which was a video and some pictures of the area in question, and kind of muddied up the water again. So I wanted to talk to Ryan, Jordan, and even Kristine. You were at the event. I don't know if you launched with Russ, but let me play this video, and then I'm going to get Ryan and Jordan's take on it.
That's where I launched right there. Go around this corner here. There's a marina. There's a couple signs right there. I didn't see the signs because I'm just fishing around the bank. So, see what the signs say.
All right, so there we go. That was the video showing him kind of showing his path and how he missed the signs and got into that illegal water. But the thing that raised some eyebrows with that was some of the people that fished with him said he didn't launch there. But he said it in that video. So can any of you guys shedding light on that?
I can.
Okay.
Just being a good friend of Russ and staying with all those guys. That video that he took, he shouldn't have probably posted that video because it did make a gray area. But what he meant is that in practice, he launched there and pre-fished there. He pre-fished that marina, I think 2 days. He launched that ramp, came up that bank. And if anybody knows Russ and sees how he fishes, he's about as zoned in on his target as anybody else. And he came up that bank, went into the marina, didn't pay attention to it. Obviously, angler awareness needs to, probably be a little better there. But that's what he meant. He didn't mean he launched there for the tournament. He meant in practice he launched there, didn't see it, and then for the tournament came straight in, going exactly where he caught fish. Y'all can comment on that.
I think it's really interesting on that lake that every marina is off limits, and before anybody takes that the wrong way, I've known Russ a long time. I live in Tennessee. Russ lives in Tennessee. We fish state championships and all kinds of other stuff for a long time, and anybody that knows Russ knows he's a good dude. I think that it's really easy to make a mistake like that when you are zoned in, and we've seen it a lot. The Tennessee guys have seen it where guys make casts too early. Championship. It's easy to do. It's one of those things where you get thinking about something else, and those things kind of go by. But as far as the ramp thing, I mean, he launched with us that morning and pedaled across, and I don't know why he was pre-fishing there for 2 days when there's giant signs that say no fishing, and he didn't see it the 2 days in practice or the tournament. But I just I don't think Russ did anything maliciously, and I think anybody that knows Russ, knows that. I just think it's brain farts on multiple days.
I'll agree with that. I mean, I launched in that. That's the marina that had us locked out that morning. So we had to launch across the lake, and I was pedaling, he was paddling, but for a mile or so up that creek. I can't speak to how, he didn't see the signs. There's a few of them on the perimeter there. With these things like this, especially, you can't, like, you're not in the person's shoes. You don't know what they were doing. Like, maybe he was fishing the right-hand bank the entire time and wasn't focused on what was kind of up ahead in the open water. I don't know. You can't prove or disprove intent on stuff like this. But I really think ultimately the only thing that kind of graded up or muddied it up was the trying to explain it. Like, if you make a mistake, we all make mistakes. I promise you, all of us sitting right here on this podcast, if you go down the top 50 of AOY, everybody's made a mistake. Some bigger, some smaller. We've all screwed up. Everybody has. You apologize for it or accept it, period, and go on. You don't have to try to, explain it or anything. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You just own whatever it is that you did. And I think, to me, that was the part that was confusing, because I launched him, I fished with him, and I saw that video, and I felt like the statement was, that's where I launched at. I talked to Russ. We fished that area, on day one together, and I never went back, and I will never go back for the rest of my life. I will never pull up to that locked marina again. But I don't think that it was malicious at all. I think Hobie handled it well. I think you gotta move on. People screw up, and you keep fishing and don't do it again. That's angler responsibility. You have to research the places you're fishing, the places you're launching. You have to know local laws. I mean, I think that really falls back on especially these top tier anglers. I don't think anybody will try to argue the fact that Russ is top 3 best in this entire sport at catching fish. Like, I don't care who you are, you can't argue that. You have more eyes on you than anybody. Like, as many people want to see you succeed, there's probably half as many that want to see you fail or more. But you have to be aware of that all the time. People are waiting on you to stumble. So, tighten up, try to control as much as you can, be extra vigilant, and I can't speak for you, Jordan, or you, Kristine, but during the TOC last year, I probably called AJ 10 or 12 times trying to double check, triple check fish, identifiers. Do you need a second photo? Do you need a third photo? Like, just try to eliminate as many chances of something going wrong as you can. That's all I'll say on it. Like, yeah. I'm glad that he called and reported himself. I'm pleased with the way that Hobie handled, their decision on it. I think all that's great. So hats off.
I wasn't there. Obviously, I'm just watching this develop. I don't know Russ that well, other than I've met him in a tournament or two. The whole thing seemed weird to me. From looking at all the evidence online anyway, it seems bizarre that someone would know that you can't fish in there. But even if he did it on purpose, maybe the rules need to be rewritten, because there's no written penalty for that anyway.
I mean that's another question. I've talked to Kristine about this before we came on the air, because I don't like to surprise people with stuff on live. But what do you say? And I'm taking this into a different avenue. If somebody's getting fish from a guide, if a guide or a friend comes up in a bass boat and drops you off 2 fish and you use them, are those 2 fish disqualified? Is that day disqualified, or are you disqualified? I think, some clarification on that kind of stuff would be beneficial overall. Not saying that would deter people or that's necessary. Like, doing the right thing is the right thing no matter what the penalty is. But I didn't know, and there wasn't a precedent on this particular thing of what would happen in that scenario.
Yeah, and let's be clear. He did DQ himself on day one.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would have known otherwise, so he did step up and make that call. So hats off for that. I think the explanation was very blurry. But any series you fish, if it's your local trail, if you fish KBF, if you fish bass, I fished exclusively this series this year. I know a lot of So you, as an angler in the series, you're going to take ownership in it, and you want the best outcome for that particular series, and you don't want to, black eye on any series that you fish and put your time into. So, that's why I was concerned about it. Other people were concerned about it. Of course, the messages were flying. So we just want to make sure that the trail handled it right, that Russ handled it right, and that the series, doesn't take a black eye moving forward. So, I knew you guys had a different perspective on it. That's why we want to talk about it here tonight. So.
And there's something else. Before, I know we're running long. I'm sorry. Y'all did too good. We've talked too much. What do y'all think about the AOY? And I guess, Jordan, I'll let you take this one. What do you think about the AOY points format and like how many events it is, but also how the TOC is weighted to go into that?
I
love it.
I love it. I'm just I do think 3 really good for the way it's set up now. There's a lot of guys that don't travel and fish. There's probably only 20 people that make more than 4 or 5 events, and obviously good for them. That's that's what they're doing and trying to make as many events as possible. But I think the way it's set up now to get the most participation out of it, to where it can keep growing and flourishing, if 3 events is really good, I wouldn't mind 4 events. I'm fine with 4 events. But I think if you get any more than that, you kind of run into who can take the most time off work, who has, whatever their particular job is. It's going to be the folks that have jobs that benefit that more, or folks that are doing YouTube or whatever it might be. Guys that
I had my own.
Homeless people stand a big advantage. I feel like.
Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah, man. I had my own selfish suggestion for that whole deal, Jordan. My selfish suggestion was only take the winners and take the rest in AOY, because if they'd have done that, I'd have made it this year.
I think we should restructure it each year based on who wins and who loses.
That's right.
Until you get something, in my opinion, where you basically pay everything up front and you're kind of locked in for the year and you're committing to fit the whole trail, I like it the way it is now. I mean, that's my opinion anyway. I think, to have one tournament where everybody's on the water together, it should count more. That's just me. That's how we do the local stuff, and that's how Hobie's doing it. In my opinion, AJ's got it right, and he listens to a lot of us. So,
what do you think?
Whether he likes it or not, he listens to a lot of us.
Yeah. Everyone here can attest. I've told AJ some things that I know he didn't like, and I knew he wasn't going to like it when I said it. AJ will at least listen to us, and whether you agree with everything AJ does or not, AJ will listen to us, and that's something that a lot of trails, whether it's bass boat or kayak or whatever, AJ will hear us out.
That's why it's regarded as the best, because he does listen, he takes it into account, and he makes what decision he feels is best for the majority of the anglers.
Yeah.
What's your opinion, Kristine?
I've got to agree with everything Marshall said. AJ does listen to us, and we have to give him the respect and trust that he knows, what's working best for the series. And we're not at a point where we have 30 to 50 people that can commit and, fish all 8 or 9 events. And if that were the case, it'd be an entirely different deal. But we're looking to grow participation regionally and collectively. And I think that, 3 to 4 events is perfect, because there's a lot of guys that only the year 1 fished 1 or 2. And when they did the AOY, they went in and fished 3, but that was a stretch for them. So I think that 3 is a really good number, honestly. And then waiting the TOC. Yeah. And honestly, I think Edwin's dad said it perfectly. Marshall still he was more consistent throughout the year than anybody, and it came out and he did win AOY and he earned it.
Somebody did. Who did that, Ryan? Who did that calculation on the page?
It was Ewing's dad.
Ewing's dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I read that, and that did, I know there were a lot of very emotional people that were commenting and upset with how the AOI was structured. And I didn't think that was really a good look. I get the conversation, and I think down the road, absolutely, we need to we'll get to a point where we can structure that differently and have it more like the professional bass trails, to where there's no drop, and the championship isn't included in the AOY. But for right now, where we're at, it's exactly how it should be, and our proper AOY was crowned and deserves it. So that's my opinion on it.
And I like the point AJ made about how some guys, and I talked to Siddiqui earlier, and he made this point. Him and Edwin were kind of jawing back and forth last night, I guess, and Siddiqui pointed out the fact that Edwin hadn't beaten him this year. You can fish your whatever required number of events, and you cannot even fish against the other person that you may be 1 and 2 for AOY.
Exactly.
The TOC, you have to beat them. That's equal conditions. That's equal lakes. We poke fun at the online stuff all the time about honey holes. You put 2 people on the same water in the same condition, and we just witnessed what happens. Like, that's a level playing field. That lake is fishing just as terribly for you as it is somebody else. Like, that's when you prove like who's got it and who doesn't. I love the 3-day format of TOC. I love that we fish this in the fall when the bite is tough. That is what, in my mind, that's the best part about the TOC, because like I said, everybody is experiencing the same crap. Like, it's, we're all in it together. Whoever can figure it out best is who takes it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Agree with that.
Good comments. A lot of people in the comments agreeing. Well, Ryan, what do you say we let these guys get some rest, man?
I would like to. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that too.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for the time, and congratulations. What an unbelievable accomplishment. So happy for both of y'all. Hats off to a great year and just a great event overall.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Congrats, both of you.
Yeah, and I think, Ryan, we're going to be back next Monday with somebody from Bass talking bass schedule, allegedly, right?
So we almost had a bass schedule for tonight, but apparently there's one more phantom signature that needs to be put on a piece of paper before it can drop. So I talked to Dwayne. We're gonna have the bass schedule. Now, it may drop before then, but we're gonna have them on to kind of review it, talk locations, and we may snag another guest to come on as well and help. You okay, Kristine? You trying to grow a unicorn horn? What are you doing there?
I'm just listening.
You're just excited. You're about to send in your entry fees.
Yeah. All of them, all 10.
All right. Let's wrap this thing up, y'all. Hey, and I'll announce the shirt winner on the page later after I figure it out. I'm not going to keep it ready longer, but great night. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Congrats.